Hey guys, welcome to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, Eddie Evil Valeco. You can find me on Twitter at Evil Echo. That's EVIL _ ECCO. Thanks for joining me today. I have so much MMA news to be sharing with you. Super excited about the fights coming up in about, not this weekend, but next weekend on the 22nd. We got Bellator with Benson Henderson fighting, and the following day we have John Bones versus OSP. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. Make sure you guys tune in to my Periscope. I will be giving the link down at the bottom. I will be at the live event for Bellator, and I will be doing a live Periscope for everybody. We'll see what we can talk to, see what we can get done. But let's get into things. Like I was just mentioning, UFC 197 originally was supposed to be John Bones versus DC. However, last week we found out that DC was injured and he's dropping out. And on SportsCenter, they announced that John Bones will be fighting Ovince St. Preux at UFC 197 on April 23rd coming up. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. I don't think that changes much for John Bones. I think this is a little better for him to come into and have like a little warm up with OSP. I don't think OSP is going to have the endurance that John Bones has. Won't be able to keep up with him. But John Bones is also returning. I don't know what to expect from him. If he's the John Bones that we're all used to seeing, then this is going to be an amazing fight. And definitely tune in, no matter what way, tune in to watch this fight. But I'm not as happy because DC did drop out. So let's rewind a little bit. Before any of this happened, before we found out that DC was going to be dropping out of the fight, there was a video that surfaced, and kudos to my friend Jeff who sent this to me. There was a video that surfaced of Daniel Cormier leaving a wrestling event in California, and as he was leaving, he was limping on his left leg. Went all over Twitter. Everyone was freaking out. I believed it for a second, and I asked everybody, and everyone tried to reassure me that this was just a rumor to psych everybody out. And come to find out that it wasn't a rumor, that he actually did get injured. Also last week, John Bones gets pulled over for drag racing. If you've been hiding under a rock, then you haven't heard of this. Let me give you a little run back on what happened. You can find the police cam video on YouTube if you haven't already. Pretty much what happens is John Bones pulls up to a red light in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A couple people pull up next to him. He's in a really nice car. He revs his engine to kind of show off. And he pulls away. A cop sees him rev his engine, comes behind him and pulls him over. John Bones claims it was about 30 yards after the light. Or 10 yards after the light, which is 30 feet. How are you drag racing if you only go 10 feet past the light? Not to mention, the cop said that he wasn't speeding, that he was drag racing. Not to mention, this is a 35-mile-an-hour area. And if you're in a car like that, with an engine like that, when you're going 35, 40 miles an hour, it feels like you're literally going 5 miles an hour. It feels like you're doing nothing. So, to me, it seemed like it was the end of the month. John Bones got caught, in the wrong place at the wrong time by a cop who was trying to meet his quota, in my opinion. As soon as he was pulled over, the cop saw that John Bones had the interlock in his system, in his car, which, if you guys don't know what that is, an intoxilock. If you've been pulled over for a DUI, every 10 minutes it will start beeping, where you have to pick it up and blow your alcohol level into it. And if it comes up saying that you have alcohol in your system, then your car will start beeping, the horn will start going off, to warn drivers around you that this person most likely is intoxicated, to watch out, and the car will eventually shut itself off. The cop noticed that John Bones had that in his car, so obviously he's not drinking. So what does he do? He writes John down for drag racing and 4 other tickets. And I couldn't believe it. It really seemed like the cop was really just trying to harass John Bones. And there's no way he doesn't know who John Bones is. I mean, you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's not, there's not that many people. People know who you are down there, trust me. And it just seemed like he was picking on him to me. So we found out, I think it was Monday morning, John Bones went on the Ariel Helwani show, the MMA Hour, and announced it before the video even came out that he was pulled over for drag racing. And Ariel was actually quite surprised that he came up and said this. I mean, I was actually surprised to hear it myself. So the next day, Tuesday, we find out that John Bones had a warrant out for his arrest placed on him by the judge, and he turned himself into police. He spent that day and the next couple of days in jail, and he was supposed to stay there until his court date, which I think was actually Thursday, or the 5th. Actually, his court date was supposed to be today, matter of fact. So he was going to have to sit in there from Tuesday until now. And luckily he got out because they discussed, this is what John Bones is going to have to do now. He was released under these conditions. He needs to get permission from his probation officer anytime that he wants to drive, 1. 2, he has to have 60 additional community service hours tagged onto his probation and his community service. He also has to attend anger management classes and driver improvement course. I do agree with the driver improvement course. He's been kind of reckless, and I wasn't surprised, I should say, when all this came out, saying that he was pulled over and was going to have another court date. So DC, I feel like maybe he waited to announce his injury until all that kind of surfaced to see, kind of to pin it on John Bones and not say UFC 197 was screwed up because of DC. So DC came out after saying that he wasn't going to fight. They announced OSP. So in case you guys don't know who OSP is, he actually lost to Glover Teixeira, and then he fought a couple weeks ago and won to Cavalcante. And his big win also to Patrick Cummins in the Shogun Hua fight. How can we forget that? I think it was a 34-second knockout. And he's also lost to Gegard and Ryan Bader, Glover Teixeira in the 3rd round back in Nashville back in August of last year, I actually think. But he's ranked number 6 in that division. And when DC dropped out, we were left with a bunch of questions. Who's going to be fighting John Bones? So in everyone's opinion, the most popular fighter everyone thought was going to jump in for 197 was going to be Rumble. And I was so excited to finally see that fight, and found out that he wasn't medically cleared from his last fight against Bader. And what happened was OSP ended up coming in. Bader wasn't able to fight. Glover Teixeira is fighting Rashad Evans, and Rashad's ranked number 7. So OSP is going in there. Thanks for standing up, OSP, and saving the date, UFC 197. John Bones put a video out saying that he was willing to take any fight, kind of like what McGregor would do. OSP has a record of 19-7. He's 32 years old. He's definitely an amazing fighter, and I see a bright future for him in the UFC. However, I do not see him winning this fight against Bones. And you know what? This sets up the perfect stage for a fight in New York. New York just got legal. MMA was just legalized in New York, so this kind of sets up the perfect stage if John Bones defeats OSP. So recently, the big Twitter talk right now is between John Bones and DC. They're going back and forth. John Bones said, quote unquote, on his Twitter, Daniel, hold on. John Bones said on his Twitter, because DC said that he was willing to train OSP, give him his training camp that is fully paid for to go in there and fight John Bones. And Jones replied on Twitter saying, willing to train OSP and willing to pay for his expenses, ? You are a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I see right through you, pussy, saying that to DC. So DC sees this, and DC comes back, coward. Coward is running from the scene of a crime without checking on a person you hurt. Coward is refusing to fight Gustafsson. Coward is UFC 51. John Jones, I have never been afraid of you or anyone my entire life. You are calling me a coward. That's an insult. Your day will come, bitch. Jones, you can't hurt me. You punch like a bitch. You're not winning decision next time. Just don't get your dumbass arrested again, loser junkie. So, DC, wow, man, actually coming back with a bold comment towards John Bones. The last thing where you're calling him a loser junkie, that's a little harsh. I mean, I wouldn't cross that line, but then again, a lot of UFC fighters do cross lines, and kind of gets the fans a little interested. I'm not saying that saying loser junkie is going to make people jump at it. But definitely the shit talk definitely makes people kind of want to know what's going on, and it sets up the beef between these two once that cage door does close. So Jones replies after he calls him a loser junkie. He goes, Jones says on Twitter, you can find this on his Twitter, Daniel, just please explain to us all why you would help OSP if you truly want to fight me and legitimize yourself as the champion. Which is definitely a great point on John Bones. Why are you going to train the person that you might have to fight if he beats John Bones? DC, what is that all about, man? I wouldn't be helping him out. I mean, the fight's between you and him that we want to see. I mean, it's definitely a nice offer. So go check that out on Twitter and give me your replies on my page. You can find my profile on Twitter at Evil Echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Definitely excited for that fight coming up. Rumble was offered the fight, but he wasn't medically cleared. Gustafsson needed a full training camp. So other big news in UFC, Cyborg versus Leslie Smith has just been announced. In case you guys don't know who Cyborg is, last year all the type was surrounding who was going to beat Ronda before Holly beat her, obviously. And everyone was saying Cyborg. Cyborg fought for Strikeforce. She's fighting for Invicta and recently just signed to UFC. She has a 15-1 record. She's 30 years old. She's an amazing striker. She gets in there and just cans girls around. Amazing ground and pound, really good endurance, and she's extremely explosive, no doubt. She also beat Gina Carano and sent her back to Hollywood. Kudos on that, Max. You had me cracking up on Pro Wrestling Authority Radio on the Heavy Hitting Network. That was definitely funny. And she's also beat Shayna Baszler. Leslie Smith, wow, I can't believe you stepped up. 4 fighters were offered this fight, and Leslie Smith only has 4 fights in the UFC. She took this fight, and if she wins, this would be huge for her. She has that loss to Jessica Evil Eye, where her cauliflower ear got punched and literally exploded. Blood just exploded, and she actually wanted to keep going on in the fight, but they wouldn't let her. Her ear literally popped and was no longer there. You can find those images on Google, I'm sure. That was disgusting. And kudos for her to step up and fight Cyborg. Who would I like to see Cyborg fight after this? Of course, the talk is Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey, I don't even have to say that, and of course the current champion, Miesha Tate. But when asked if she was interested in the title fight, she said she's more interested in the super fights. Of course, she's going to take the title shot when it comes, but she's definitely a super fighter, and I can't wait to see her get in there and just mess girls up. In my opinion, I see her taking the belt. I'm sorry, I'm a huge Ronda fan, but I see Ronda beating Miesha, and then I see Ronda getting her ass beat by Cyborg. And honestly, Ronda just came out with videos of her chewing apples again. They said she wasn't going to be able to chew apples for a year, and yet she did it as soon as Holly lost to Miesha Tate. And there's a lot of hype about that, a lot of talk going around that she wasn't going to, come back as soon. And as soon as she found out that the girl that she's already beat twice is going to be champion now, she's coming back. She thinks it's an easy fight for her. But Miesha said that Ronda's not the girl she used to be after that loss, that saying that she was suicidal showed a side of weakness. And, Miesha looked amazing in that fight against Holly Holm the night of the Diaz-McGregor fight. And I'm not saying that if it went to decision that she would have won. Holly was definitely beating her up and kicking her around. But she ended up sticking that rear naked choke and winning, and that's really all that matters. So Miesha's got the belt. Ronda wants to come back. Let me hear your thoughts. Tweet me on Twitter. I just gave you guys my Twitter name. You can find it on the bottom of this bio. And UFC 200. That's the next topic I'm about to get into. I mean, we've been announced Aldo versus McGregor too. What? That's crazy. Aldo versus, not Aldo versus McGregor. I'm sorry. I wish it was Aldo versus McGregor too. It's going to be McGregor versus Diaz too at UFC 200. Diaz just beat Conor McGregor with the rear naked choke, and this fight's also going to be at 170, just like their last fight. So that's going to be the headline for UFC 200. They also announced Aldo versus Edgar too. So I'm definitely psyched about that. But they will not tell us who the co-main event is yet. And Dana White said once he announces it, that minds are going to be blown. And only fight that I see that would blow minds would either be the Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate 2 or Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey making her comeback. Because, of course, it's UFC 200. You got to beat UFC 100, which had like 1.6 million pay-per-view buys. And that's the best way to do it, is get your biggest stars on there, who are Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo, one of the Diaz brothers, Frankie Edgar, of course. Imagine, maybe BJ Penn. I didn't think about that. Maybe BJ Penn, but would he be co-main event above Aldo versus Edgar interim belt? I don't think so. I don't know what to think about that. It could be the announcements of GSP coming back, but I don't think that's the case either. Another possible CM Punk versus Mickey Gall, but I really don't think that that's going to be the co-main event. When asked about that, CM Punk said that there's probably only a 10% chance of him being on that card. So, but Kenny Florian, who was on Fighter and the Kid last week, I quoted him saying he's coming back this year, or the end of this year. It won't be UFC 200, but I think after that he will be aiming for the New York card. So picture that New York card right now. You got DC out. So DC versus John Bones on the first New York card ever, and then to put GSP on there against maybe Lawler's big talk, but then again, GSP says he doesn't want to step on Rory McDonald's toes, so I understand that. So who does he fight? Is it going to be a Diaz fight? I don't know. I don't know. So again, send me a tweet. Let me know what you guys think about that. I can't wait to find out who's going to be on the UFC New York card. That's going to be awesome. CM Punk, Cowboy just turned 33 last week. Happy birthday to him from Pure Evil MMA. And also, big news that just surfaced. Travis Brown with a comeback to the Fighter and the Kid's Brendan Schaub, who last week was, at the beginning of their show, they did this little skit. They've been doing these comedy skits, which are actually pretty funny. You can check them out. They have a podcast on iTunes, or you can find it on YouTube. I listen every week. And he was making fun of Travis Brown. We all know that Brendan kind of messed around with Ronda Rousey. Now Ronda Rousey's dating, maybe engaged to Travis Brown. And they were doing a little skit at the beginning of their show. And Brendan Schaub was pretending to be a psychic. And they were doing it as Travis Brown walked into a psychic in Calabasas. And Brendan Schaub was doing like an Indian accent, kind of making fun of him, and said that I see in your future that you are going to be working for a very handsome boss who gave you a job, but in his sweatshop, folding clothes. Yo, this boss is Brendan Schaub. And then he said another one. It was really funny. Go check that out. Travis Brown responds to him with a tweet of one of their fights of Travis Brown on top of Brendan Schaub, knocking him out, and says, "What a satisfying night when you shut someone up with your fists." Ooh, hard one, hard comeback. You can check that out on his Twitter page. I thought that was hilarious. Travis Brown just going through the beef with Matt Mitrione after he poked him in the eyes. Matt Mitrione's eye blew up like a pumpkin on his head. That was crazy. You guys go check that out. He's trying to bring that to court. And he actually, Matt Mitrione just got signed to Bellator. So look forward to that. And also in news, RDA calls Conor a pussy. What? He said, Conor doesn't deserve to fight me. He just got beat by Diaz. If he loses to the number 5 contender, how can he face the champ? Well, RDA, come on, man. You just broke your foot. I'm not saying that you did it purposely, but you just broke your foot. He was willing to fight you. That's the fight that we wanted to see. We wanted to see, after Conor knocked Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, to move up in weight class from 145 to 155, fight you, win the belt, be a 2-division champion at the same time. Never been done before. There's been different weight divisions at different times. BJ Penn, one of them. And that was the fight that we wanted to see. Diaz stepped up. He saved the fight. Unfortunately, Conor McGregor lost. He gassed out. Had an amazing first round, but then gassed out. Got stumbled by Diaz. Got put up against the cage by Diaz. Diaz went all out, punching Conor. Conor falls to his back. He gets choked out by Diaz. Fight's over. But my point being that Diaz stepped up, Conor stepped up, saved the fight. He could have waited to fight you. He could have waited for that big fight. Don't call him a pussy, man. He'll fight you whenever. He made that very clear. I wouldn't be calling him a pussy. I mean, maybe he's trying to hype himself up maybe a little more. That was his fight. That was red panty night. That's what we wanted to see. That was red panty night, and we didn't get to see it. So maybe he's trying to hype it up. If he is, that's awesome. Then I guess that's okay that he said that. So I don't know, man. It's a wild game in the MMA world. You really do got to hype yourself up for fans to start tuning in. I mean, we're all, at least for me, I was a huge WWF fan when I was little, and I loved that it was kind of like a man drama in a sense where they put the fight story together, the beef together, and we tuned in every week to watch it. And I know that a lot of people don't like that and really don't care about that, but there are fans that will come over from WWF, just like I did growing up. And, that kind of adds to it. That kind of makes people want to tune in and watch it. So, definitely, I see a lot of fighters been doing that lately. Another thing I want to talk about is Cody No Love versus Thomas Almeida. Both of them are undefeated. And TA was recently saying that he's going to knock Cody No Love out in the second round. And, man, I can't wait for that fight. That's going to be one hell of a fight. Definitely tune into that one. But this weekend, we have UFC Fight Night, Rothwell versus JDS Dos Santos. Ben Rothwell, number 4 ranked fighter, record of 36-9, 70-inch height, 265 pounds. He has an amazing record. He's been going around with that go-go choke. He got Ben Rothwell in the go-go choke the last fight and submitted him. Minds were blown that night for sure. We know Rothwell from that, I forgot who he fought, but afterwards did that evil hoo-ha-ha-ha-ha laugh. And we were all kind of like, So he's fighting this weekend as the main event versus Junior Dos Santos, who's 17-4 and 238 pounds, usually comes in fighting. So we got that to look forward to. And also, if you guys haven't been watching Dancing with the Stars, we got Team Alpha Male's Paige Van Zandt, who's been on there, and she's actually been doing really good. Go check that out. I forgot what night it is. I want to say it's Monday nights. I don't want to give you guys a shot in the dark on that and be completely wrong. But she's been killing it. And, man, she just lost to Rose Namajunas not too long ago. And she actually showed up at the post-fight press conference, teary-eyed, but she definitely showed up. She was kind of like the poster girl for the female fighters for a little while. Dana was kind of bringing her up. Faber was training her with Mendez and everybody. Cody No Love trains at Team Alpha Male. Shout out to them from Pure Evil MMA. And she's definitely doing an amazing job. I've been seeing a lot of your guys' tweets saying that maybe she should stick to dancing. That's a little mean, guys. Don't be saying stuff like that. So I'm going to be taking a break for a second, and I'll be coming back with the last 2 topics for you guys. Thanks for tuning into Pure Evil MMA. Hey guys, welcome back. You're watching Pure Evil MMA here with your host, Eddie Evil Valleco. I'm in the studio with no one else, and it's my time to shine, I guess. Unfortunately, Matt couldn't make it. He has work right now, and Angie Jabs. is currently not available. But tonight, I've been getting a lot of requests from you guys on Twitter that you want to see her come back, and she made a promise to Pure Evil MMA tonight that Angie Dabs will be in the building and will be on tonight's 20-minute episode. So I want to get back into things really quick. I left off on a kind of a scratchy note, and I want to talk about UFC Fight Night coming up April 16th with Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson, the real Akapui. Amazing card that night. In the prelims is Betch Correia, who just lost to Ronda Rousey in that crazy fight. I think it was like 32 seconds, something like that. Even down in Brazil, where Betch Correia is from. And this is her returning fight. I see her doing a lot in that division. She's a strong, tough girl. She's fighting Raquel Pennington, who also is an amazing fighter. Definitely a good fight to look forward to. Raquel's a 6-6 record, but she's a really amazing fighter. Every time I watch a girl fight, I'm blown away. The skill and talent that these girls have in the UFC, every fight I'm at the edge of my seat. So she's fighting Betch Correia, who's ranked number 8 in that bantamweight females division. And she's 9-1, and that only loss is Ronda Rousey. So I see this being a tough fight for Raquel Pennington. I mean, I think Betch is going to go in there and just pound her to the ground. I mean, if we look back at Raquel's back at like her last couple of fights, she did lose to Holly Holm. She's beat Ashley Evans Smith. She's lost against Jessica Andrade, won against Roxanne Modafferi, and her last win was actually to Jessica Adelaide. So I don't know. She's a great fighter. I think Betch is a little more dominant, but if Raquel can get her out of that first round, keep her distance, stay away from that powerful punch, keep her distance, and then work her way in the second round, which is a little more gassed out, I do see the fight kind of evening out then. So let's do a quick Pure Evil MMA sight into the future. I see this fight. I see Betch Correia getting a knockout in the first round. That's how it's going to go down. I really see that happening. And on my next show, I will be telling you why that's going to be happening. So moving further down the card, we got John Dodson fighting Mandy Gabarian, who was in the finale of The Ultimate Fighter with our boy Nate Diaz and ended up losing to Nate. But during that season, he was definitely a key player, amazing fighter. He's very short, but he packs a punch, that's for sure. But John Dodson, he's the fastest person in that division, maybe possibly in the whole UFC. I see John Dodson being way too quick for Manny in this fight. Manny, though, has that power which can drop Dodson. So definitely got to be careful of that. This is definitely a great fight. A lot of these, this is why I'm going through this card too. There's amazing fights on this card. I'm not dishing out on the Rothwell versus Dos Santos fight. I mean, I'll do a breakdown of that fight and the fighters who we're going to be watching later on this week for a video. But this is the fight card I'm most excited about. And it's April 16th coming up. The week after that is the John Bones fight. And so we got John Dodson, Mandy Gabarian, we got Betch Correia, Raquel Pennington. Also, we got Cub Swanson making his return after that loss to Holloway. Cub is definitely an amazing fighter. He has been in a lot of highlight videos. One memorable one is his Aldo fight. Aldo dropped him in 8 seconds. Or no. He dropped him in 16 seconds. 8 or 16. Correct me on Twitter, guys. I think it was 8 seconds. He runs in there and gets him with the flying knee. Cub just drops. That's definitely a great highlight video if you're looking for some highlight UFC knockouts. That actually wasn't in the UFC, as a matter of fact. That was WEC. But Cub Swanson making his return against Hakron Diaz, who is ranked number 10th. Swanson's ranked number 6th. Swanson has a 21-7 record. Diaz has 23-3 record. Definitely going to be an amazing fight for sure. I think Cub's going to win this fight. he had that fight where he had beautiful destruction, and but he's coming off two losses though. He lost to Max Holloway, and he's lost to Frankie Edgar, who those are two dudes that are working their way to the top. I mean, Holloway's only other loss, Holloway's last loss actually was to McGregor, and he's been undefeated for the past like 2 years, I think. Cub Swanson also lost to Frankie Edgar, but before that he beat Jeremy Stevens. He's beat Dustin Poirier, the Diamond, who's actually an amazing fighter too. He's another fighter to be on the lookout for. I watched an amazing documentary on his rise and coming to the UFC. He also, his last loss was to McGregor as well, but he actually beat the McGregor's only other loss in Cage Warriors. The real Duffy, I forgot his first name, but his last name's Duffy, the real Irish Duffy. He just beat him on a Fight Pass prelim not too long ago. The night that McGregor fought Aldo, I think. I'm not positive on that, guys. Cub Swanson's also beat Charles Oliveira, Ross Pearson. The list goes on and on. He has losses to Chad Mendes, and Lamas, but he's definitely a coming back fighter. I really see him winning this fight. If he doesn't, he might not return. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. He might not be the same fighter that we've seen in the past, but I just have such a drive for him that I really want to see him come back. I really want to see him fight a couple or more people in that division, and I got to root with him that night versus Diaz. All right, so moving on. We got on that card, we also had Rose Namajunas versus Tecia Torres in the rematch. Last fight, Rose Namajunas lost to Tecia Torres, but Rose Namajunas has been doing amazing. She just beat Paige Van Zant. She actually tried choking her out and submitting her like 5 times, and somehow Paige wiggled out. That was also on a Fight Pass prelims. And you got Tecia Torres, who's absolutely a beast with a 7-0 record. She's ranked number 4. Rose ranked number 3. Rose has a 5-2 record. We all watched her come up on The Ultimate Fighter. And Tecia Torres has wins over Jocelyn Jones, Angela Hill, Angela Magana. So those are definitely, amazing fighters. But Rose is definitely on the up and coming. She has that shaved head after right before she fought Paige Van Zant, Paige Van Zant, this is kind of messed up. I don't know what the story behind it is. I'm a huge Paige Van Zant fan. Shout out for Pure Evil MMA to Paige Van Zant. Good job at Dancing with the Stars. But she did promise, like a cancer society, that when she got signed to the UFC, that she would shave all of her hair off. And in this fight versus Rose Namajunas, Rose actually shaved her hair off completely. Paige actually did donate, I think, like 6 inches or something like that, but didn't go up against up what she was supposed to do. Rose Namajunas has 7 matches, 5 wins by submission. She's a really good grappler, and I see Rose Namajunas winning in this fight. So moving on in the card, another big name. This is such an amazing fight card, guys. UFC Fight Night, April 16th, coming up, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Pacific out in Cali. I think it's starting at 8. So next fight, we got Lyoto Machida versus Dan Henderson. I can't wait for this fight. Lyoto with a 22-7 record. Dan Hendo 31-14. We just watched Dan Henderson. He doesn't have the jaw he used to, it looks like, unfortunately. But that fight could have went either way, and I could have said that about either of them. He just lost to Belfort. He knocked him out with a nice spin kick and just dropped him. Henderson's ranked 14th. Machida's ranked number 5th. I'm very excited about this fight. It's definitely going to be a fight to watch. Well, that's for sure. Lyoto is a huge name in the UFC if you're not familiar with him. He just lost to Yoel Romero. He also lost to Luke Rockhold, who are some pretty tough dudes in that division. Rockhold, who now has the belt after beating Chris Weidman. But Lyoto's, he's beat CB Dalloway. He's beat Gegard Mousasi, Munez. He's already beat Dan Henderson. He's beat Ryan Bader. He's beaten Randy Couture, Shogun Rua, Rashad Evans, Diego. The list goes on and on. He also has a couple losses in there to some big names, but he's fighting a who's who in a Murderers Row division. So this fight, it's going to be the rematch between the two. I would love to see Dan win, but I see Machida. I don't know what to think yet. I mean, right now I see it leaning towards Lyoto's side, but when I do the fight breakdown in the coming week, I will do a complete breakdown for you guys, and I will give you the fight picks when I have my guest, or my co-host, I should say, Matt Mizuko. I'll go through it tonight, actually. I'll go through this card tonight. So make sure you guys tune back in. I'll be with Angie Jabs around 9 p.m. tonight. I'll probably be airing at 10. I will keep you guys posted on my Twitter page, which is at Evil Echo, EVIL_Echo. Alright, so moving on in the card. After that, we got Glover Teixeira, who's from Connecticut, trains out of Danbury, Connecticut, versus Rashad Evans. So this is definitely another fight to look forward to. Glover's been on a roll lately. Rashad, not so much. Both older fighters. Glover's ranked 4th in that division. Rashad ranked 7. And that's a tough division. You got DC as champ. You got John Bones in that division. You got Alexander Gustafsson. You got so many amazing fighters. Glover Teixeira, 24-4 record. Rashad Evans, 24-4 record as well. Well, Rashad, 24-4-1. Rashad's an amazing fighter, really good grappler. I really wish he would pull the trigger a little bit more. He's coming off a loss to Ryan Bader, but wins over Chael Sonnen and Dan Henderson. He's on a 1-fight loss right now, actually. But he's a good striker, and he's a really good grappler. He has 7 knockouts, 3 wins by submission, I want to say, but 10 decision fights. So this fight can go either way, guys. Glover's been on a roll, too. But if Rashad's not afraid to pull that trigger, I mean, it could definitely go his way. But Glover coming off a win to Patrick Cummins. He's beat OSP, who is about to fight Johnny Bones at UFC 197. Thank you, OSP, for saving the fight. It's going to be on this girl's birthday, Angie Jabs, who will be with us later tonight. But also, before the OSP, he was coming off a loss to Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis, who now fights for Bellator. And then a loss before that also to the champion, John Bones. But not to mention, he also has wins over Ryan Bader, wins over Rampage. You know, that list goes on and on, too. Quick call on that. I see that going to... I want to see Glover win that night. I really do, guys. I would love to see Glover win. We've seen Glover be destroyed by John Bones. I was surprised in that fight, honestly. But, you know, that's going to be a good fight, and that's going to be the co-main event that night. Once again, I'll give you the breakdown in my next video later tonight with Angie Jabs when she's next to me. So here we go, the main event. We got Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Eagle, and Tony Ferguson, El Kukui. Nurmagomedov with a 22-0 record, undefeated. You see him, he's always wearing that big blonde afro. He put it on Joe Rogan. I love that in the post-fight speech. That was a great scene. And then you got Tony Ferguson, who's 21-3. He's a very dangerous fighter. I would love to see him versus Conor McGregor, actually. He's on a win streak right now. He's beat Edson Barboza. He's beat Josh Thompson. He's beat Trujillo. He's beat he's beaten a lot of people. This list goes on and on. But he's lost to Michael Johnson. That was his last loss. He's 5'11". He's 32 years old. He's a very talented fighter. But I see this fight going to Nurmagomedov, honestly. I want to see him continue his undefeated streak. He's beat the current champion. This is his returning fight. I think he hasn't fought in a while, but he's an amazing wrestler. He's beat the current champion, RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos. That was an amazing fight. He's beat Pat Healy, Abel Tahilo, a lot of big names he's beat. 22-0. He's a young fighter. He's 27 years old. He's 5'10", so there's not much of a height advantage. Tony Ferguson has a 1-inch height advantage on him. So, honestly, this fight could go either way. A lot of people are saying Ferguson's going to win, but I really want to see Nurmagomedov. I don't believe in ring rust. So, I would love to see him put that weight back on Joe Rogan. So you're listening to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, Eddie, and I'm signing out, guys. If there's any questions, shoot them at me on my Twitter page at Evil Echo. That's Evil, EVIL _ Echo, ECCO. I will see you guys later on tonight. I will be joined by the wonderful, the beautiful Angie Jabs. Make sure to tune in tonight. I'll have more news for you. Thanks for viewing in. Thanks for listening to Pure Evil MMA. Make sure to tune in later tonight for Pure Evil MMA with Evil Eddie and Angie Jabs.